here we have a starling quilt block. It is a star, spoiler alert. And that means we have a couple points that we want to line up. And it doesn't matter if you don't perfectly line them up because there's a lot of points in a quilt. Also, spoiler alert. But it would be cool if you had some tools and techniques in your back pocket to help you do it really well. So the points that I'm talking about, boom, here's one, and here's one. Oh, bounce up here. We got another one and another one. You'll notice this square and a square block right here. This is a finished seam. It floats. So that's done intentionally. So you don't have to line up this point. We did line up our goose. Oh, let's see if we can zoom in there. So that's a nice sharp little tip, which is kind of fun. And there's a video on that. But in this video, we are going to line up our points. I'm going to show you two different ways. One is using fork pins and one is using straight pins, depending on what you have access to. So join me. The best way to ensure that your seams line up is to nest the seams. That's why I like to iron my seams to the side. Okay, so this unit, the seam is ironed to the left, and this unit right here, the seam is ironed to the right. Do you see how those are opposite? When I flip them right sides together, here we go. I'm gonna do a little shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Diggy, diggy, diggy. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And I'm going to make sure that these just kind of snap into place. I'm gonna open this up just so you see it really good. This is a little bit of a, how do I say? You can just feel it. You can feel that it's raised because this is the side that the seam is facing. And just like this fabric is a little bit raised. So if I were to pull this over and kind of gently brush it up against the other fabric, it would naturally just lock into place. It would naturally just kind of stop. I can pull it back a little bit and just make sure that that's lined up. So I'm gonna look at this seam right here, and then also these edges. I want this edge to be nice and lined up. Okay, so now I know it's lined up, but that's kind of the easy part, right? The hard part is getting it through your sewing machine, getting it through your feed dogs, and not having it move. I have two tricks for you. Okay, one is the fork pin. It's not a fine pin, so it's not like a fine quilting pin, so it's a little bit thicker. So you kind of have to do a little bit more jamming. A lot of people like to pin this direction, so when you take it to your machine, you're not getting poked, and it's a little bit easier for right-handed people to slip it out. I just find it easier to just pin toward me. So that's what I'm gonna do in this tutorial. I poke either side of the seam, and that just completely locks it into place. All right, I'm gonna take it to my machine, and then I'm going to ever so slowly sew over the pin. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't wanna sew over a pin. That's totally fine, you can move it, but the magic of the fork pin will kind of go away because you're not gonna have anything locking it into place. If you do keep it there, and you can even manually, you can turn the dial that makes your needle go up and down. You can even manually turn that so you know you're not gonna smash into this pin. That's a really safe thing to do. Just go really, really slowly. Okay, on this next seam, I'm gonna show you how to use just regular straight pins, like on my little bracelet? Yeah, my bracelet. Okay, once again, here I am. Just gonna lock these two into place. Okay, and again, you can take your fine needle and you can go this direction away so you don't get poked. But again, I like to just poke it toward myself. I find it, I have more accuracy. I've been doing it for 20 years and I just like doing it. Okay, so all you wanna do is kind of a similar move as the fork pin. You wanna pierce the right side and then have it pop out on the left side of the seam. So that way, just like with the fork pin, you're locking those seams together and in place. Remember the fork pin? Okay, now see this? If you're like, okay, I want double protection with my straight pins, you can give me a cross section. You could do this. This is like, whoa, like it is so not moving. That's gonna be harder not to hit with your machine though. So yeah, I'd take those out before sewing over it. If you do sew over it, do it so slowly. Okay, I've never actually sewn it with with 2 pins before. One's enough. Okay, let's take it to the machine and you can see the final result when I'm finished. Okay, I've started sewing my starling block. Here I go, 1/4 inch seam. I'm gonna keep my needle down. And as I get to that fork pin, I'm just gonna take it really, 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 really slowly. That was so slow. That was painfully slow. Okay, now I'm getting to my goose tip. And this was gonna get kind of tucked in my presser foot. That's a no, I don't want that. So I lift it up and I wanna hit that intersection. I wanna hit it. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. If you hit it right at that intersection, then you know the tip of your goose beak is gonna be really sharp. Okay, here I come to my other seam. Slow, slowly, slowly. Nailed it. Nailed it. All right, I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna show you those beautiful seams. Ooh, good golly, Miss Molly. I think we did it. I think we got our goose point and let's see. Oh, there we go. So both ways work based on what you have. I kind of prefer a fork pin in this situation. I feel like my success rate with fork pins is 100% and my success rate with straight pins is 85%. But they're both great. And 85% success rate is, you know, pretty great. All right.